Caitlin Clark just landed another incredible endorsement. This time it's with Stanley Cups. Guys,
What if the most talked about sports deal of the year wasn't about a multi-million-dollar contract, but about a simple drinking cup? And what if that cup deal was the key to unlocking a secret war brewing just beneath the surface of professional basketball? Caitlin Clark just signed a massive endorsement with Stanley, and while on the surface it looks like another win for the superstar, it's actually a symbol of something much bigger, a carefully constructed empire that has made her both a queen and a target. This isn't just about a brand partnership, it's the final glittering piece of a billion-dollar blueprint that has inadvertently painted a massive target on her back, and the fallout is shaking the sports world to its very core. The Stanley deal isn't just another logo on a poster. In the last year, Stanley Cups transformed from a niche product into a viral cultural phenomenon. They became a status symbol, an accessory people would literally fight over in stores. For Clark to land this partnership right at the peak of that global craze proves she has transcended sports. She is no longer just an athlete, she is a mainstream cultural force, an A-list celebrity whose influence dictates consumer trends. This partnership is her coronation. But this moment wasn't a lucky break. It was the final move in a game of chess that had been played for years, meticulously planned by a mastermind working behind the scenes. This single cup is merely the tip of an iceberg, a visible marker for a vast hidden fortune built on a strategy so revolutionary, it has changed the rules for female athletes forever. And while this empire made her unfathomably rich, it was also building the walls of a fortress that would soon come under a relentless siege.
Still at will maintaining to land deals is, legendary. And not to mention she still got to deal with Gatorade as well. So for her to land this Stanley deal is just, I know a lot of people talk about her agent not being there for her agent doing all these things. I gotta give it to her agent, bro. Now, granted, would Caitlin Clark be getting these deals if she didn't have her agent? Probably. But she still got to give some, we still got to give some credit to the agent. This is a nice cup here. I don't think I ever seen one like that. This is legendary right here. And Caitlin looks super happy to have this deal as well.
The architect of this empire is her agent, Aaron Kane, a strategic genius who is playing a different game than everyone else. Long before Clark was drafted, long before she even knew which WNBA city she would call home, Kane was building an impenetrable financial fortress around her. Deals with corporate giants like Gatorade, State Farm, and Buick were already locked in and announced. This strategy was nothing short of brilliant. When Clark's WNBA rookie contract was revealed to be a shockingly low $76,000, the world erupted in outrage. But Kane had already made that number completely irrelevant. The public was fighting a battle that had already been won. Clark was a multi-millionaire before she stepped onto the pro court, insulated from the league's problematic pay scale. This was a revolutionary blueprint for marketing female athletes, secure their financial independence first, so they never have to rely on the league's paychecks. It gave Clark a level of power and autonomy that no rookie had ever possessed. But this financial foundation was about to be supercharged by one deal so massive, so earth-shattering, it would elevate her from a sports star into the company of immortal legends. That deal was the Nike bombshell. It wasn't just another sneaker deal, it was a reported $28 million 8-year contract that came with the holy grail of basketball endorsements, her own signature shoe. To put that in perspective, this is a sacred honor Nike reserves for a pantheon of gods: Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. These are the names associated with a signature shoe line. For a rookie to be granted this honor before playing a single professional minute is completely unprecedented. It was Nike planting a flag, declaring that Caitlin Clark wasn't just the future of the WNBA, she was the future of their entire basketball brand. This single contract did more than make her rich. It separated her from every other player in the league. She was no longer just a peer or a competitor. She was a global brand, an entity unto herself, playing in a financial stratosphere her colleagues could only dream of. The $28 million wasn't just money, it was a crown, and in sports, nothing invites jealousy and hostility like a crown worn by a newcomer. This personal wealth was only one half of the equation. The other half was the Clark effect, a term that fails to capture the sheer scale of the economic tsunami she unleashed upon the WNBA. The numbers are simply staggering. Her games are shattering viewership records on every network, pulling in millions of fans who had never watched a WNBA game in their lives. Games on ESPN, ABC, and even the lesser-known ION network are posting figures that rival major men's sporting events. The demand for tickets is so astronomical that teams are moving their home games against her Indiana Fever from their regular arenas to massive NBA stadiums, and they are still selling out. Her number 22 jersey became the top-selling jersey for any draft pick in the history of any sport ever. Her influence became so undeniable that it forced the league itself to change. For years, WNBA players had been flying commercial, a logistical and security nightmare. But the sheer chaos and public outcry surrounding Clark's travel forced the WNBA to finally invest in a full-time charter flight program for all teams, a change players had been demanding for over a decade. She had, in a matter of weeks, solved a problem the league had ignored for years. But as her star ascended to these incredible heights, a dark shadow grew longer. This unprecedented level of influence was breeding a dangerous, unspoken resentment, and it was about to explode on the court for the whole world to see. It happened during a game against the Chicago Sky. It wasn't just a hard foul, it felt like an assassination attempt on a narrative. As Clark stood waiting on the court, away from the ball, player Chennedy Carter delivered a blatant blindside hip check, sending her tumbling to the floor. There was no basketball reason for the play. It was cheap, it was personal, and it became the shot heard round the sports world. That single, ugly moment ripped the friendly facade off the league and exposed a raw, simmering hostility that had been boiling just beneath the surface. The immediate reaction was a firestorm, but the controversy reached a fever pitch after the game, when Carter defiantly told reporters, "I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions," while her coach initially defended the play. The league later upgraded the foul to a flagrant one, but the damage was done. The foul was no longer just a foul. It was a symbol of a league-wide animosity, a physical manifestation of the jealousy some players felt toward the rookie, who was getting all the money, all the fame, and all the attention. This single act ripped the curtain back, exposing a raw and uncomfortable truth about the war that was secretly being waged against the WNBA's new queen. That foul was more than a physical blow. It was the starting pistol for a national debate that the league was not prepared for. Suddenly, every sports show in America was having an explosive conversation about race and privilege. Prominent commentators openly questioned if Clark's unprecedented popularity was solely a product of her undeniable talent, or if it was amplified because she is white. They drew stark comparisons to the treatment of black NBA superstars like Ja Wilson, who had dominated the league for years without receiving a fraction of the media obsession or corporate endorsements that Clark received overnight. This forced a deeply uncomfortable but long overdue conversation into the mainstream. At the same time, whispers from anonymous sources and cryptic comments from other players painted a picture of a divided kingdom. The narrative emerged that veteran players, particularly the black women who had built the league on their backs, felt erased and disrespected. They saw Clark as an outsider who had been handed the keys to a kingdom she hadn't helped build. The league was now fractured, caught between celebrating its new cash cow and dealing with the internal rebellion she had unintentionally caused. But the biggest betrayal was yet to come. And this time, it wouldn't come from a rival player on the court, but from the very establishment itself. In a decision that sent shockwaves through the entire sports world, Caitlin Clark was left off the U.S. Olympic women's basketball team. It was a stunning, almost unbelievable rejection at the absolute peak of her fame and influence. The official reasoning from the selection committee was a desire for veteran experience and pre-existing team chemistry. But the public didn't buy it for a second. To millions of fans, it was a slap in the face, a decision that reeked of gatekeeping, personal politics, and fear. Fear that her colossal star power would overshadow the established veterans, fear of how her massive fan base would react if she didn't get enough playing time. It was viewed as a catastrophic marketing blunder, a conscious choice to turn away millions of new viewers who would have tuned in just to see her on the world's biggest stage. It felt like the ultimate act of betrayal, a move designed to appease a handful of insiders at the expense of growing the game. And it all ties back to that Stanley Cup. The cup is a symbol of her commercial triumph, her undeniable impact, and the very source of the jealousy and hostility that now follows her every move. So the great question remains, is the Clark effect a force destined to build a new grander future for women's sports, or will the crushing weight of the crown and the relentless war against the queen cause this entire glittering empire to finally shatter into pieces?